on a mystery in Ealdormere, the story of a baron who went missing while surveying his own lands. Kingdom at Large first heard about the disappearance of Baron Daffod of Skraeling Althing during episode 9 of Ealdormere at Home, when a live feed from Nicola Canis, agent of the Lawpeaker, to Nicolaa de Bracton, the Lawpeaker, was intercepted.
Magistra Nicolaa, I have today's report.
Thank you. I'd love to hear it.
Unfortunately, we have bad news from Skraeling Althing. It seems the Baron has gone missing.
Oh no.
We have reports that his horses returned to stable without him, and investigations has shown that there might have been a struggle, but we don't know much else.
That's very interesting. Sounds like you have a few details. Have you learned anything else?
We haven't learned much else yet, but it seems that there was a torn piece of shirt at the scene, says reports.
Well, it sounds like we have a bit of a mystery on our hand, and as Lawpeaker, I'm glad you came to me, because one of the things that I do is to make sure that when we have a dispute or any other thing where there might have been some sort of breach of our kingdom laws and of the peace, that I investigate these issues. And by investigate myself, it doesn't necessarily mean that I will investigate everything myself, but it's usually an important thing to find some good neutral people around that can ask questions without raising suspicion. Would you be willing to help me in this matter as one of my investigators?
I will.
Excellent. So you will be my agent. But these things are never done well just by one person. I think you should have some help. And I've heard there's a gentleman named Rhys that might be a good person to be your partner. Would you be willing to work with him to investigate, to find out what happened?
He seems like a good man. I shall take him on.
Sounds good. I will also make sure their majesties are aware of this issue and that I am on the case and that I have diligent investigators working for me. I often employ investigators and other such people to work for me, so that is an important thing to know. They will be familiar with this, and they will know that I am known for getting results in my investigations.
I will find out what happened.
Excellent. So good luck, and please let me know if there's any other questions I can answer. I'm always happy to help and to make sure that we get justice for whoever did this dastardly deed.
Later that same episode, the king verified Daffod's disappearance.
This just in. Breaking news. We take you now live to the King of Ealdormere.
Greetings of Ealdormere. It's with sad news that I come to you today. Baron Daffod of Skraeling Althing has gone missing. On September 6th, while traveling within his barony, his horse returned to the stable without its rider. When warriors were dispatched to retrace the signs, there was a sign of a struggle and a ripped part of his tunic. We assume that the good Baron has been kidnapped, and we plead for his safe return. The good Baroness of Skraeling is distraught without her good husband. We feel our eastern border is not secure at this time. Any information that you can get to the safe return of Baron Daffod, we would appreciate.
It must also be pointed out that the king was out riding with his horse earlier that same day.
It's more of a gallop, so we're going to try that. Alright, so we're going to ask for a walk on, then we're going to ask for a canter.
It It was theorized that the king himself may have had something to do with the disappearance. This theory was popularized by a certain stuffed member of the populace with too much time on his hands.
This is Ozzy coming to you from an undisclosed location, bringing you, the people, the hard truths that they don't want you to have. Today, we are looking at the apparent abduction of His Excellency Daffod of Skraeling Althing. According to a report on Ealdormere at Home, provided by the Office of the Lawspeaker, Baron Daffod went missing while out riding a horse.
We have bad news from Skraeling Althing. It seems the Baron has gone missing.
Later that same episode, the king repeated this assertion.
We assume that the good Baron has been kidnapped, and we plead for his safe return.
Now, I'm no Albert Magnus, but did no one else remember that earlier that same day the king was seen out riding shortly before the Lawspeaker's agents discovered the Baron was missing? These images, sent to us by a source very close to the king, paint a different illumination. What is in that tree line? Is that a scrap of red cloth? Was it a torn fragment of the Baron's tunic? Was he out riding with the king? Just how involved in this conspiracy is our king? Was the king really riding alone? Who took these images? What is the monarchy trying to hide?
Ozzy, come and take out the trash!
Mom! I told you not to come in here when I'm filming!
Right now, young man!
The truth will out!
Over the next few days, several ethereal scrolls were leaked from the Lawspeaker's office, interrogating various suspects. Baroness Avelyn, wife of the missing Baron, is questioned by an agent of the Lawspeaker. Was she behind the disappearance of her own husband?
Good afternoon. I am Agent Rhys of Anglesey. I am operating on the authority of Their Majesties King Emilius Claudius Britannicus and Queen Isabel Atwill of Ealdormere.
Long may they reign.
Long may they reign. For the record, can you please state your full name and title?
I'm Avelyn Wexcombe of Great Bedwin, and I am Baroness of Skraeling Althing, and you may refer to me as Your Excellency.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Do you know why I've requested an interview with you today?
Well, there's been a terrible tragedy here in Skrael. My beloved husband, David, has gone missing, and I'm so afraid of the worst for him.
Don't worry.
And I hope that I can help you get to the bottom of this as soon as possible, and my truly wonderful husband can come back to us.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We will do our best to make sure that we find your husband.
Thank you.
Where were you on the day of the disappearance? That being September 6th, 2020.
Well, Agent, I can say that to the best of my recollection, I was with my ladies in my solar. We were reviewing certain files and documents for our lands, and we were planning our various parties and festivities that we go to, and thinking ahead to the days when we can see each other all again, trying hard not to break our little bubble of happiness in my tower.
Indeed. And I assume that your ladies-in-waiting can corroborate this.
Sure.
Thank you. We may need to speak with them at a later time.
Certainly.
Your Excellency, why do you think someone would abduct your husband?
Well, because he's just such a wonderful person. I mean, who wouldn't want my lovely husband? And he was quite a catch, although I have to say there have been rumors that there are people in this kingdom who are very jealous of him and his skills, so really, I don't know what could have possibly have happened to him, and I hope that there's just been some unfortunate incident and that he'll be wandering home quite soon, healthy and hale and well, because I love him and I hope that's the case.
That is the hope. Have you received any kind of correspondence regarding Baron Davith since his disappearance?
Well, I did receive a message by pigeon. However, the message was very garbled and I really have no way to make sense of it, and I wasn't able to get anyone else to help me decipher it, so it's really quite a mystery.
Oh, perhaps we'll be able to analyze this further after this interview.
Well, unfortunately, it got misplaced.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
that is very unfortunate.
Yes, the ladies that I spend my time with are highly efficient and very, very tidy.
Indeed. Where did you last see Baron Davith then?
Well, a lady shouldn't talk about these things, but that morning, the morning that he disappeared, we were both in the solar together, naturally, and he rose early and went off on his morning routine, and I bade him farewell with a long kiss. And that was the last I saw of him.
Well, at least he was able to see your fair face one last time before he disappeared.
Aren't you a sweetheart?
How did Baron Davith act on the day that he disappeared?
Well, I mean, Davith is known for being a very pleasant person. He's very lovable. He's very, very smart, you know. And I didn't really notice anything out of the ordinary that morning. He was very, very cheerful at breakfast, and he kissed me goodbye before he went on his rounds, and I suppose I thought it was a little bit odd that he was taking a horse because, you know, he usually prefers to walk the lands, but perhaps he was in a bit of a hurry, or he would have been ranging a bit further afield. I don't know.
Perhaps he may have been going further.
Mm-hmm.
To your best recollection, do you know if he had any confrontations with anyone in the past recent time?
Well, I'll have to think about that.
Or if he had been with someone that day?
What are you suggesting?
Oh, nothing untoward.
Oh!
Simply a friend, perhaps.
No, I would never. Oh, well. Oh. Whew. No, I don't think he was with anybody except, you know, his usual retinue of games people, and I know that he was out walking the land and talking to the people because, you know, these people just adore him and they love chatting with him, and he loves chatting with his people and hearing what they're up to in the news and you know, seeing lands for himself. So I'm sure he was just out and about doing that and doing nothing else at all untoward. Perish the thought.
Indeed. Can you think of anyone who would hold a grudge against your husband?
That is such a tricky question because, you know, like I said, he just seemed to be so loved by everyone. Except for that pesky Baron Brand down in that Ben Dunforth area. Cousin Baron Brand, yes. He's so very jealous of us, you know, because we hold the lands to Bolt Castle. And I know he's just so covetous of that isle and that very, very worthy castle atop of it. And I know he's tried to sway many people in the kingdom that the land there belongs to Ben Dunforth. But of course, it is within Scrail's lands. and we have documentation that it belongs to us. So frankly, it wouldn't surprise me if that Baron Brand wasn't involved somehow, or his agents thereof.
Definitely something we'll have to look into.
And I hope you do.
Absolutely, Your Excellency, we would do.
And he should be ashamed of himself, coveting our castle and our island.
Yes.
And I know that there's even rumors that other peers in the kingdom were very, very jealous of his charisma and his charming nature.
Oh.
Sir Richard. But, you know, as for a grudge, I don't know. I mean, he was a very sought after craftsman as a leather worker, and one of the few leather workers in the kingdom of Ealdormere, and it's entirely possible that he was requested rather forcibly to attend someone and provide for their leathery needs,
Oh.
I suppose you could say.
So he may have been abducted in order to take advantage of his artisanship.
Yes, he's very handy making leather goods.
Would you call any of these people who would hold a grudge against your husband as particular enemy?
Well, Her Grace Duchess Ryland did, I understand, want to challenge him to a banner-making competition, because he's also known for his skills to make silk banners in the kingdom as well as herself, and I think she wanted to prove ultimately that her banner-making skills were superior, but I personally don't believe that anyone of Her Grace's stature would be able to do something as horrendous as this. And, you know, that would just be a terrible thing for a peer of the kingdom to do. And I would be so astonished if Her Grace had anything to do with this. But who am I to know these things, of course?
Indeed.
And I should also mention, Agent Rhys,
Yes.
I am, of course, innocent of any wrongdoing in this matter whatsoever. And I'm sure that there may be people who are wondering that, but anyone who knows me knows that I love my husband. I would never do such a thing. I could never cause him any kind of harm or grief. And I am more than just a well-wisher, and I love him and want him to be well.
Of course.
So I assure you that that's the case. And I also want you to know that you can totally eliminate anyone from our good shires, because I am very fond of the people of our shires, and I think that they're so misunderstood in this kingdom, and they're good folk, and they deserve more recognition and more stature and land and power. But nevertheless, no one from one of the shires could possibly have done this. They're such wonderful people, and I'm rather fond of them, but that's for another day for us to discuss, of course.
Well, thank you for your forthrightness.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And you know, I do hope that all of my responses will help you find my beloved Dabith.
I'm sure they will. Finally, what do you think should be done to the person who did this?
Oh, well, I naturally am outraged at my husband's disappearance, and I'm horrified, and I'm just absolutely overcome with the idea that something's just terrible and untoward has happened to him. So, if I had my way, the person responsible for this horrible deed would be subject to the wrath of Scrael. And indeed, we know wrath in Scraeling all things. However, it has to be said that, of course, naturally, anything that were to be happening at the result of the end of this case would be fully the responsibility of their majesties, who are just and true. So, really. But if I had my way, Avelyn smash! But naturally, it is all in the jurisdiction of our glorious law speaker and our wonderful majesties, of course.
Of course, I will make sure that they know of your wishes.
Well, and I understand that they're pretty fond of wrath too, so I hope that whoever's responsible is brought to justice and suffers much beatings and possibly some land loss.
Rest assured that they will be.
Yes, and a tarnished reputation as well.
Of course.
But that is, of course, up to the discretion of their majesties.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to this interview, Your Excellency. The Crown appreciates your cooperation. I'm sure you are eager for your husband to be found.
Oh, yes. And David, if you're out there, I love you, and I hope that you come back to us soon, because I miss you, and the people of Skraeling Althing miss you, and we need you, and don't worry, I'll fix your tunic. Or someone will, but we'll fix your tunic.
Thank you so much.
And good luck with your case and your investigation, and I hope it resolves quickly.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
Could the Trillium Herald have had a hand in the hideous happenstances haunting his heirship?
Duchess Ryland, thank you for coming today.
Thank you. I'm a little surprised to be here, but...
Well, unfortunately, due to recent circumstances, we thought we'd ask you a few questions. Did you know His Excellency Defed?
Yes, he's Baron of Skraeling Althing.
All right, and do you know anyone who might try and get him out of the way for any reason, possibly a kidnapping?
Possibly a kidnapping. He's been kidnapped?
We're concerned that might have happened.
My, that is unfortunate. That is very unfortunate news. Wow. I would have to think on this. Well, now that you mention it, now that I've had some chance to think about it, I had heard rumors. I had heard rumors that the barony of Skraeling Althing was considering running an event the same weekend as Baron's How, and that would be a terrible, terrible thing. And the seneschal for Baron's How, His Lordship Thorstein, he has some pretty strong opinions about Baron's How being the one and only event that weekend. So if you're looking for motive, that might be someone you could take a look at.
That does seem troubling. We'll take a look at it. Thank you. Now, we do need to ask you where you were midday in September 6th.
I was, busy at home.
Can anyone corroborate that? Staff perhaps?
Well, certainly there might be some staff around, but, my husband, he was here too.
I see. We'll speak with him as well. Thank you so much for being honest.
Huh.
Now, we have had some rumors that you might have been a little concerned about His Excellency and things he's doing. Do you have any comment to that?
I would have no reason that I can think of that there's His Excellency, that I would want to harm His Excellency. His Excellency and I get along perfectly fine.
Is that so? It's good to know. I think that's all the information we need from you. Thank you so much for coming here.
Well, it's my great pleasure.
All right.
Could a knight be responsible for the Baron's very bad day?
Sir Richard, may I have a moment of your time? I know you're
Yes.
quite busy with your fighting and armor and the like.
Yes, Rhys, what is it? I'm here to serve you. To give you assistance. Does the king need my help? What is it?
Yes, well, good afternoon. I am Agent Rhys of Anglesey. I'm operating on the authority of King Emilius Claudius Britannicus and Queen Isabel Atwill of Ealdormere.
Yes. Well, I'm their loyal knight. So what do they need?
Thank you.
They need to fight their enemies.
Indeed. Do you know why I've requested to interview you today?
Well, obviously, I'm a knight. It's to fight.
Well, yes, normally that would be the case. However, we are investigating a certain matter that you may have some information about.
Oh, well, of course. Who do you need me to go and bring in for questioning?
Well, in this case, we are questioning yourself.
Oh. So I don't need this helmet?
No, sir, you do not.
I don't need these gauntlets?
No, you may.
And the mail's a bit of overkill?
Maybe just a touch.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll take off these bits here.
Sure, make yourself comfortable.
Make myself comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
There. Well, yeah.
Yes, that seems quite heavy.
Jeez. I've been wearing that since March.
Oh boy, you've been waiting quite a while.
Put this back on. Oh, now we can have some ale. Cheers.
Yes, cheers. I will have water.
So, what does the king need me to questions to answer?
Well, for the record, can you please state your full name and title?
Oh, so I am Sir Richard Larmer, companion of the Order of the Pelican, also Baron of the Court of Malek and Genevieve.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Where were you on the day of the disappearance? That being the disappearance of Baron Davith.
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
of course, on September 6th of the Anno Societatis 55.
Oh, that's what this is all about. Oh, of course. Oh, well, I was here. I was here in the lands of rising waters. The waters here not near me lap onto the shores of the kingdom of Ethelmark, so I have a duty to protect this part of the kingdom and to serve the king and the king's agent, the good Baroness.
Yes,
so that's where I was. I was here doing my work, and there's a lot of work here. You know,
is there?
Keeping track of all the peasants, collecting taxes, patrolling the border, training, that kind of thing. Lots of work to do.
Sure,
Very
absolutely. Is there anyone who can confirm your whereabouts?
Well, the lady, of course. She's been here too. So
of course.
Well, except for when she goes out.
Definitely.
Sometimes for days.
So she may not have seen you on September.
I think she would have seen me then. Yeah, she would say so.
All right. Well, we may have to speak with her at a later date.
Okay.
How do you know Baron Davith?
Well, he is a noble of the kingdom. He's one of the king's men, so I know him that way. I have been in his court. I have visited his barony. The man and I are not close, but I certainly know him as a fine and upstanding noble. So this is quite shocking and a loss for the kingdom that he's gone missing.
Absolutely, it's very shocking. We're eager to find him.
Yes.
Hopefully healthy. Where did you last see the Baron?
Well, that would have been late winter. I had the joy of traveling to his barony for an event they called Break the Back of Winter.
Oh, yes.
And I was at that time serving our great Queen Caela, the Cheerful, as her champion. So I literally stood at the court there and saw him there. So yes, that would have been last time I was in his barony, as a matter of fact. It's a long journey from here to there and back.
So you did not see him on September 6th then?
Well, of course not. As I said, I was here.
Do you know if Baron Davith had any enemies or anyone who would hold a grudge against him?
A man who has power always has enemies,
of course,
right? Because you have to rule, you have to lead, you have to set examples, and so some people, just don't like someone in his position, right? They want to take his lands, or maybe he did something to offend them. I heard that he had a hunting accident where he, instead of getting a rabbit, he inadvertently killed a cat, and that upset one peer.
very much. So, and I've also heard some other unpleasant things being.
Do you remember
said.
which peer was upset?
Well, I don't like to say this because it's a lady, but I will. Magistra Nicolaa.
Ah.
Yes.
All right.
Now, I can't imagine her doing something like this. Very court lady, but people talk.
Yes, of course, and we have to investigate all leads in order
yes,
to find.
And she should have no problem answering questions. Yes.
All right. Why do you think that someone would have done this? What possible motive could someone have had for this?
Well, maybe someone wants his power, right? So maybe someone, I heard a rumor that, he might have been switching sides, taking his barony to the east.
Oh.
And that would be, so someone may have acted on behalf of the king to protect that.
That is very intriguing.
Yes. A certain chronicler might have done that, I heard. So, but the other thing, you always know what happens is sometimes, things go awry between a baroness and her baron, right? And sometimes, things just don't work out very well.
Were there any issues between them?
Well, aren't there always issues? Right? But yeah, I hear that he just complains a lot about wanting to go on a long trip. So who knows? Maybe she arranged that long trip for him.
Indeed.
Yes. But one nice thing is, he's just missing. So he will show
as far as we know, he is only missing currently.
Yes, so he will show up. So
that is the hope, that we find him very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, finally, what do you think should be done with the person who did this?
Well, they should be brought before the king for the king's justice, of course, because that's the role of the king is to rule the land with a just and even hand, right? And
Absolutely.
Look at all the facts in the case and rule accordingly.
Mm-hmm. However, if you were given the choice of what the punishment should be, what would you say?
Oh, well, this could well be a capital crime, so it may involve, appropriate execution.
Very
depending on
serious.
the rank of the individual involved, the method will be determined. Right.
I agree. Very.
So yes, very serious. It's very serious. And the thing is, this is not just an affront upon the good baron, but the baron is the very embodiment of the king. Absolutely. In the lands of Skraeling Althing. So this is not an assault on that fine gentle. It is an assault on the king himself.
Absolutely.
Right?
And by association, all of the rest of us as well.
Well, of course, yes. So it effectively is treason. And we know, some would argue, I'm not a lawyer, but it strikes me as being treasonous behavior. So they would have to be dealt with. So,
yes. And the law speaker, of course, would be considered, and the wishes of their majesties as well.
Yes. Well,
all right. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to this interview, Sir Richard.
Okay.
The Crown certainly appreciates your cooperation in this matter.
I always cooperate with my king and my queen. Right?
Yes.
Wassail Ealdormere.
Sail Ealdormere.
Yes. Wassail the king. Wassail the queen.
Sail the king and queen.
Could a chronicler perpetuate an abduction to increase circulation of his periodical? Perhaps.
You've reached Evan Quicktongue. Who the hell are you?
I am Nicola Canis. I am here by order of the law speaker.
Oh,
we have to ask you a few questions.
Oh, well. Try not to take too much of my time. Very busy.
There are a few things that have happened recently. Did you hear about them?
No.
No?
No.
Well, Baron de Fed has unfortunately gone missing. We suspect a kidnapping, and we're trying to find out information. Do you have any?
Or widow. I mean wife.
We suspect it happened on September 6th. Do you know where you were at?
Oh, yes. I was on my way back from the Pennsic War.
Excellent. Is there anyone who can corroborate that for you?
The entire Pennsic War saw me there. I won.
You won?
Yes.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, we do worry that there might be some problems. It's It's known that several people didn't like having Baron de Fed in his position and would possibly want him gone.
Sure, he's Welsh.
Do you think you'd know who might do this?
Well, Nicola, of course, comes immediately to mind.
The
Law Speaker. Oh, naturally, yes. Yeah, no, she can't stand the Welsh. They use all those consonants in a row that make like 2 D's make an L and 2 F's make a silent Q. Like, they're ridiculous about it, and she has to do a lot of ceremonies and scrolls for them. Needless to say, they've worn out her patience.
I see. Is there anyone else that might know this, or perhaps this is just from you?
Oh, I think it's well known throughout the kingdom. I mean, you know, you can't be Law Speaker without having these things known.
I see.
Yeah.
Now, I do worry, since the Law Speaker is my boss, so we will have to...
I assume the two of you are related, as your name is also Nicola? I assume that's how you get the job with the Law Speaker? You have to have the same name?
Close.
Yeah?
No relation.
No, okay, that's probably for the best.
Well, we thank you for your time. We won't keep too much of it. And
Excellent.
Congratulations on the war won.
Thank you. It was the least I could do for the kingdom.
Yes. We'll be speaking with you a little bit later, but thank you for your time. And
My
have
pleasure.
a good evening.
You also.
Could the Baron have been absconded with to Ulfheim?
Thank you for coming, the Honorable Lord Thorsten. Now, we have a few questions for you. Do you know why we've called you in?
I'm not entirely sure. I've heard something going missing, somebody going missing, but no details. I mean, I live up here. News doesn't travel far.
So, unfortunately, on September 6th, it seems that the Baron of Scaling Althing has gone missing. And unfortunately, we're here to try and find out where he is and what's happened. Do you have any idea?
Of the Baron?
A Baron, yes.
Baron. Well, it's a pity that Southern Ealdormere is misplaced another Baron. I have no idea. Up here in the north, we don't have any. Well, we have one Baroness. That's it.
I see. So, unfortunately, it seems that people might be thinking that you possibly have had quarrel with him, and we're concerned that this is a kidnapping. Have you had any problems with the Baron?
Obscuring all thing, that would be defend?
Yes.
Well, problems with him. It's more, well, have problems with somebody you have to have interactions with. And seeing as he's refused invitations to come up here to our event many times, too many times. I mean, really, how can you have a problem with somebody that never shows their face in your area? I mean, refusing invitation. How gauche?
Would you possibly have any information on someone who might want the Baron out of the way?
Well, I don't really like spreading gossip, but I mean, seeing as you're an investigator, you're doing an investigation, you kind of need some details, I guess, or some information. I don't really want to speak ill of her because she's kind of family, but I did overhear that Ryland was having a loud argument with them. I don't know what it was about, but you know, Ryland, she gets her blood up, she gets her back up. You can hear her halfway across Penzance. Pretty loud. I didn't hear what, but wow, she's not happy.
That is concerning.
Yeah, that wasn't good. And then, well, I mean, you could look at another group entirely, never mind just one person. It's sort of kind of third, fourth hand in a way. But I did hear that Evan heard that the Fed was disparaging Ramshaven. He wants to get to the bottom of it. So I'm not throwing Evan under the wagon here, but maybe the entire group of Ramshaven has an issue. Now, somebody in there, they're a touching lot. Be expected.
It seems Baron de Fed had a few disagreements with several people here in Ealdormere.
I mean, I've only overheard things. I don't know facts for sure. And it certainly wasn't me. I wouldn't do such a thing.
No, of course not. Well, thank you.
Long way to go.
Would you be would you travel down there?
Well, I mean, I have in the past, but I've done so for friends. I don't know if I'd really want to go for, other reasons.
I see. And one last question for you. Where were you midday on September 6th?
It's too far away. The distance is very prohibitive, especially seeing as we just finished having our gathering, our annual gathering at Baron's House, and well, really, I heard Daphne has a pretty delicate constitution. And probably wouldn't be a happy trip if we were to go down there and put him in cuffs and drag him back up here. It's a long road to go when you're in a trunk or a closed-in wagon or some such.
I see. Thank you for the information and coming today.
You're welcome. If there's anything else, just let me know.
All right. Have a good day.
You too.
Is the Lawpeaker actually lawless?
Good afternoon. I am Agent Rhys of Anglesey. I am operating on the authority of King Emilius Claudius Britannicus and Queen Isabel Atwill of Ealdormere. For the record, can you please state your full name and title?
I'm Magistra Nicolaa de Bracton, otherwise known as the Ealdormere Kingdom Lawpeaker.
Thank you, Magistra. Do you have any idea why I've requested to interview you today?
Well, I think it must have something to do with a certain case that was brought to me. I had heard that we were needing to appoint some investigators because some dealings seemed to be shading around the disappearance of a certain baron from Skraeling Althing. And being Lawpeaker, of course, anything involving justice and shady dealings is something that is often brought to my attention. So I was told about this ahead of time, and I recommended that perhaps some investigators should be appointed to look at this matter.
Absolutely. Just for the sake of due diligence, where were you on the day of the disappearance, that being September 6th, 2020?
September 6th, 7526, you mean?
Yes, that is right.
Yeah, 7526. Well, I was busy transcribing all of the minutes from the last moot, which was held several months ago, into all of the languages of Ealdormere. And as you can imagine, this is a process that takes months and months. And although I am learned in many languages, some of the languages are a bit obscure. I'm currently working on Estonian. After that, I think I'll be moving to Mongol. So it's a process that's very time intensive and kind of picky because languages are like that. They're a little bit different. It's hard to say things like Ealdormere and Mongol and such. Of course,
they all have their own little quirks.
Yep.
Is there anyone who can confirm your whereabouts?
Well, it's something that the king and queen certainly knew about because it's their moot. And they knew that this is one of my jobs as Lawpeaker to be able to do that. You might talk to, there's a gentleman named Von Ivanich as well. I know him. He's a good guy. I had some dealings with him. He could probably confirm.
Okay.
And his brother, Ivan Borosovich. No, they're not brothers. They're cousins. But Gleb is the, well, okay. Never mind. Okay.
All right. How do you know Baron Davith?
Well, Baron Davith is one of His Majesty's faithful vassals. He holds the barony of Skraeling Althing in fief from their majesties, and as such, he has very important duties and such to uphold their majesty's reign and to be faithful, and there's oaths sworn and all of that kind of thing. Of course, as law speaker, I don't know anything about oaths. I'm not in fealty to anyone.
It's true. Only to yourself and to the law.
Absolutely. And the people of Ealdormere.
Of course. Where did you last see Baron Davith?
The last time I saw Baron Davith, I'm trying to think when that actually was. It's been a very long time. I think I saw him outside one of the halls, hanging about, looking for his missing rabbit. They seem to have this thing about bunnies and Skraeling Althing. It's very strange. And hanging about in the back, and I'm not quite sure what he was doing back there. It was kind of suspicious, but I think I heard somebody say he was looking for a bunny.
And was this on September 6th?
Yep.
Ah, okay. All right. Did you see if the Baron was with anyone?
Well, his Baroness is usually around, and you know, sometimes I get a little bit nervous about her. She's kind of dicey. You know, I'm not sure about that. I keep hearing her talking about fabric, and I don't think Davith likes her shopping for fabric. So,
is she a splurger?
Yeah.
All right. How, you said that Baron Davith was acting a little suspicious. What makes you say that? Was he scared or?
Well, he was looking around him, all, you know, kind of like looking everywhere, looking this way and that. Oh, wait, sorry. There's something on my hands.
What's that on your hands?
Kind of red here.
Yeah.
It won't come off. It's really annoying.
Oh.
Yeah, so he was looking around kind of furtively, as if he was expecting someone to come out of the bushes or something like that. It's a little suspicious, and that's one of the reasons. He said he was looking for the bunny, but I don't know if that's like a metaphorical bunny or just a bunny.
That is the symbol of Skraeling Althing.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure about that.
Going back to your hands, why are your hands all red? How did that happen?
Yeah, I was busy helping Gleb do some necessary work. And it was paint. Yeah, that's it. It's paint.
Okay. Oh, all right. Can you think of anyone who would hold a grudge against Baron Davith?
Well, lots of people hold grudges against him. That's one thing. It's all these little petty disputes that I hear of, all kinds of rumors and things like that.
Of course, as law speaker.
Apparently, there's this jealousy thing going between Elfwyn as Davith's current Laurel, and Evan is also apprenticed to her and might be a little jealous and wants her all to himself. There's that. I heard about that one. And he picked on Richard Larmer's garb. And Richard is really, really, really sensitive about his clothing. He's always on about how 14th century he is and how his legs look so good and things like that. And Davith went the last time I saw that happen. And there's a little bit of bad blood happening there.
How did Richard take that?
He was kind of just went, like that. Like he took it well, but I know he's sensitive about that as well. I mean, there's all kinds of rumors about Davith bad-mouthing his neighbors in the north. So Thorstein is another one. Thorstein's up there in the Northern Shire, the Ubershire, and that's not very nice to pick on your neighbors about you know what the nickel mines look like up there, or any of those other things that are in the north and things like that. Now, I happen to like the north, so I'm a little sensitive to that as well. But yeah, and things like that. I also heard a rumor about Avelyn, like David stole her last sweet roll. There's all these wonderful rumors floating around, and even the Kingdom Herald was put out because Avelyn was one of her heralds, and when they got their property, suddenly she couldn't be the herald anymore, and Ryland was annoyed by that. Ryland is always looking for new heralds to give jobs to.
Yes.
So a lot of rumors floating around about these things.
Yes, indeed.
It's hard as law speaker to sort out all the rumors. So these are just gossip. I don't have proof of any of these things. They're just things that people tell me, or Yvonne or Gleb tell me about what's going on around the kingdom and things like that. So,
well, definitely something that we can look into.
Yeah.
Do you know why somebody would do this? What possible motive could someone do or have to abduct His Excellency?
I think they probably want to make themselves look good. Might be one of those cases where somebody just wants to make themselves say, hey, I've got the power and I can use it. So there might be a lot of excuses why they would do it, but I think that's probably why somebody would do it. Make themselves look good, make themselves big, make themselves the powerful ones. Maybe tell the king and queen, hey, we can do this to your baron. What else can we do?
Definitely a power play is a possibility. Finally, what do you think should happen to the person who did this?
Well, being law speaker, they should be punished by the full extent of the law in Ealdormere. That's absolutely that. And I'm the expert in that law. So there's a variety of sanctions that can be applied and such. And I could certainly recommend what those would be. Of course, it would be their Majesty's job to carry out those sanctions. But there's certainly kidnapping a prominent member of the royal family, the extended royal family of Ealdormere, is something that should be taken very, very, very seriously. And that person, I mean, they could be exiled from the kingdom or punished by making them take a job that nobody else wants to take. That's always a great punishment. Make them serve the king, or take away all of their noble titles and turn them into a peasant. That would be a good thing to do to somebody who was guilty.
Definitely.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that could be done, but it should be as per the law of Ealdormere, and that's the way we do justice.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to this interview, Magistra Nicolaa. The Crown definitely appreciates your cooperation.
My pleasure. And if there's anything else I can do, if you need a point of law clarified, I'll just be in my little house over there working on that Mongolian translation after I finish the Estonian.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you. Enjoy.
On episode 10 of Ealdormere at Home, Her Majesty came forward with a plea to the populace.
Greetings, Ealdormere. I come before you today with a plea for assistance. It's been many, many days since the good Baron Daffodus Grayling Allthing was absconded with by ruffians. His Majesty and I are quite beside ourselves with concern. We've heard nothing from his kidnappers. We would ask that if you know anything, or you're able to assist the investigators that Magistra Nicolaa has appointed in any way, shape, or form, please help bring our good Baron home. To the kidnappers, if you don't return our Baron to us, whole and alive, we will send our armies after you. We sent our finest steeds across the land for training earlier this summer. And we know that they have been working very, very hard. We will send them after you. So send him home immediately. And to whoever this Aussie character is, I don't know why you would suggest that my good husband, His Majesty, would have anything to do with Baron Daffod's disappearance. We only want our Baron returned to us so that he can take his rightful place in our lands and protect our eastern border as we've entrusted him to do. He is one of our most loyal vassals. So please, Ealdormere, please help us bring Baron Daffod home. Thank you.
Following the airing of this plea, their majesties held a virtual court attended not just by Ozzy, but by people claiming to be Daffod's abductors. Those present speculated wildly on who the abductors might be, some of them even blaming Agent Nicola's cat Ham.
Yeah. The other thing is we've got quite the interesting mystery happening in the kingdom right now.
Agreed.
Agreed. And
we're very, very concerned about.
It's Nicola?
It's not you.
It's Nicola?
I don't know. We're very, very concerned about our poor Baron Daffod. Baron Daffod, he's gone missing.
My border almost doesn't feel secure.
I know we're concerned.
Yes.
I mean, but the Baron, of course, and yes. But
yeah, how am I going to collect my taxes?
So if anyone knows anything about what's happened to our good Baron Daffod Skrailing all thing, and they want to see some of the interviews that have been posted to the kingdom about the those suspects in his disappearance.
Badriel saying they did not do it. Badriel is an awful good suspect, actually.
I think so.
Yeah.
Also, Your Majesties, your exchequer, Jane Caldwell, would like the kingdom to know that her successor has also been chosen. Her Ladyship Petra of Septentria has agreed to take over in January-ish.
Yes.
Excellent.
Excellent. So your coffers will be well taken care of too.
Wonderful.
That's very important, especially, if Baron Daffod has anything to say about that. It might be a little lower than normal.
It's true. It is true.
All this speculation led Ozzy to release a second episode of The Northern Howler.
This is Another Bear, coming to you from an undisclosed location with the truth that they don't want you to know. Daffod's abduction continues to mock the agents of the Lawpeaker, who have yet to discover what happened to the Baron. 6 digital scrolls have been leaked, revealing interviews with various suspects from all around the kingdom. Daffod's own wife, Baroness Avelyn, is, as the Lawpeaker states, dicey. Listen to this.
He was a very sought-after craftsman as a leather worker, and one of the few leather workers in the kingdom of Ealdormere.
She refers to him in the past tense. What does she know? When she wasn't busy flirting with the agent.
He disappeared.
Aren't you a sweetheart?
She was admitting to losing evidence.
Well, I did receive a message by pigeon. However, the message was very garbled, and I really have no way to make sense of it, and I wasn't able to get anyone else to help me decipher it, so it's really quite a mystery.
Oh, perhaps we'll be able to analyze this further after this interview.
Well, unfortunately, it got misplaced.
Then there's the Trillium Herald Ryland, who throws shade on the Shire of Ulfheim.
I had heard rumors that the Barony of Skrailing all thing was considering running an event the same weekend as Baron's How, and that would be a terrible, terrible thing.
While offering no concrete alibi.
I was, busy at home.
Likewise, Sir Larmer could not account for his whereabouts the day of the abduction.
Is there anyone who can confirm your whereabouts?
Well, my lady, of course. She's been here too. So,
of course.
well, except for when she goes out.
Definitely.
Sometimes for days.
So she may not have seen you on September
I think she
6th,
would have
then.
seen me then. Yeah, she would say so.
And seem to perspire freely under questioning.
You have to rule. You have to lead. You have to set examples, and so.
When agents questioned the Kingdom Chronicler, Lord Evan, he referred to Avelyn as...
Or widow, I mean wife.
And claimed he won this year's Penzic War.
The entire Penzic War saw me there. I won.
Penzic was not held this year. What is he hiding? Speaking of Elfheim, the Shire Seneschal, the Honorable Lord Thorstein, seemed worried about being overheard.
Well, I don't really like spreading gossip.
While showing his bruised feelings.
Well, he's had problems with him. It's more, well, have problems with somebody you have to have interactions with. And seeing as he's refused invitations to come up here to our event many times, too many times. I mean, really, how can you have a problem with somebody that never shows their face in your area? I mean, refusing invitation. How gauche?
Before hiding a pair of shackles.
I don't know if I'd really want to go for,
Were those the shackles used to bind the Baron's wrists? Lastly, there is Magistra Nicolaa, the Kingdom Law Speaker, who pointed out that she operates outside the law.
I'm not fealty to anyone.
She seems proud to have gossip to spill.
Shady dealings is something that is often brought to my attention, so...
And has a mysterious red substance staining her hands.
Yeah, and it was paint. Yeah, that's it. It's paint.
Really? Really? This is one royal mess. A mess that is all about power.
Power and I
Is power.
And power.
Who has the most to gain from the Baron's disappearance? Whose life will be enriched by his absence? Whose...
Open up in the name of the king!
The truth will out!
Almost a month to the day from the disappearance, town criers led a hue and cry as a suspect was finally named. Many people took to the fields, halls, and woods to try and catch the suspect. So then was the mystery resolved. Breaking news! Agents of the Lawpeaker have identified the Honorable Lord Thorstein Bjarnjurler Svensson as the primary suspect wanted for the kidnapping of His Excellency Defed, Baron of Skraeling Althing. The populace is urged to use caution, as Svensson is considered dangerous. The Baron has been missing since September 6, when he disappeared on his daily rounds through his baronial lands. This just in, agents of the Lawpeaker are closing in on the suspect's location and say an arrest is imminent. Once again, agents of the Lawpeaker are seconds away from apprehending the Honorable Lord Thorstein Bjarnjurler Svensson.
We gotta go.
This is a ransom demand. I want to get paid. I want money. I'm a little late with this. Gotta go by.
Hey, wait! Isn't that him right there?
Why, yes, that is.
Get him!
The Honorable Lord Thorenstein, you're under arrest. We know that you've personally abducted the Baron. Maggie has informed me that the Baron has kept refusing your invitations. Joffre has told me that kidnap is a test of personal quality in the North. I can't believe you'd stoop this low. Where's the Baron? Take me to him.
Reports say that he kidnapped the Baron over His Excellency's repeated refusal of invitations to visit the Northern Shires and to boost his status in the North. Thorsten was quoted as saying, "I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for that meddlesome Maggie and Joffre." Mark my words, I will return. But how did this mystery come to be? Who planned it? Whose idea was it? Where did it come from? Here's the real story.
Hi, Nicola. How are you tonight?
Hey, doing good.
So, so the mystery was solved. We found out who our mastermind was for the mystery, the kidnapping of the Baron Davith of Skrilling Althing. That was exciting.
Indeed, I chased down Thorenstein and caught him.
Yes, through many the one corridor in your home.
In socks while trying to be very quiet. So I snuck up on him.
It looked really good. It looked great. I'm really glad. I was wondering how you were going to do that, but it worked out really well. Now, we're actually here because Master Colin had suggested that we might let everybody know how all this unfolded. And it was you were the mastermind behind the mystery in Ealdormere. So why don't you explain how this all came about?
Oh, well, the Queen put out a message on the magical sparkly box. And
Book of Faces?
Of Faces, yes. The Book of Faces, it opened, it shone, and asked for ideas on how to get the populace kind of doing things and entertaining Ealdormere. And, well, I thought the best thing that I've done with the group to entertain myself was solving a mystery. And so I timidly opened the Book of Faces and messaged the Queen as a super noob. So I sat there and I was like, okay. And to my great surprise, she messaged me back. And she got me in contact with you.
Well, she's a pretty awesome queen, I have to say.
She is. She's awesome.
Yeah, she popped up on the Book of Faces and said, I don't know if you know Nicola Canis in Trinavancia Nova, but she has this great idea. And I wonder if you might be able to give her a little bit of help to get the idea off the ground. And then
I hope you did.
We got in touch. And so it was a great idea. And I'm so glad it came to fruition and, everyone, got to be involved. But the challenge is in the interview with the two Nicolas, you revealed that you're pretty new to the SCA and the Kingdom of Ealdormere. Haven't met a lot of people yet.
I had no clue. I was like, for a mystery, we need people. People? Like, I've gone to one event, and I don't remember anyone's names, let alone both of them.
So I was able to help you coordinate the people part of it and some of the data part in the background. And you put a private group together on Facebook to coordinate your players that way.
Yes, it was very exciting. And once you connected me to all of our lovely suspects and to our lovely camera crews and editing, it was just, we were all together. And I can't take much credit for the writing of any of it because it was definitely you and the suspects. I sat there and was like, I have an idea, but you guys did it.
Well, it's important to have the idea for the other stuff to happen. And so essentially, so when we confirmed our suspects, you let me know what information you needed, and then I went to each of the suspects and got that information from them. In the meantime, as you mentioned, so Colin and Thorfina, we got in touch with them, and they loved the idea and wanted to include it in Ealdormere at Home, and it became like a rapid bulletin or a bulletin alert or something like that. That was fantastic. So cool. How about the puppet? What do you think of the sock puppet?
Oh my gosh, they completely surprised me with it. They were like, we're going to do this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's great. This is perfect.
Well, and then from my perspective, I didn't have a clue who the mastermind was going to be.
No. So I kept that completely secret except for me and the mastermind. And the mastermind was actually told like 2 weeks in. I was just like, you're going to pretend I'll be innocent and I'm not going to tell anyone. And then we'll tell someone.
Well, the suspects did a great job making themselves look very suspicious, casting some suspicion on the other suspects. I thought that was well done.
Lots of blaming going around, lots of gossip.
Little bit of blame, yeah. Little paranoia.
Yeah, exactly. What viewers might not know, and I don't actually have it pulled up here, but I might get it now, is that we had bits and pieces and layers of things that they could discover through videos, through messaging the suspects themselves. We even got some people messaging me, and I was just like, I did not expect this. What do? So what people might not know is there was, I believe, 5 to 6 pieces of gossip that you could discover about every single subject. And every single suspect had a different piece for different suspects. And some of them are hilarious. And some were not discovered whatsoever.
Well, and some of those pieces of gossip were actually provided by the suspects about themselves.
That moment when, I think when I was talking with people who had discovered some of them, Thornstein's jealousy of Defeat's shoes was definitely one of them that people started giggling at, and I was like, I see you. So they were all meant to be very lighthearted and fun, and to be clear, they're completely made up.
Exactly.
So y'all
None
don't
of them
have to
are
worry
real.
about some of these things.
None of them are real. They're all imagined by all of us.
We're imaginary? What?
So do you think you'd do something like this again?
I think I might. Maybe not, still during the plague. I think it would be fun to do an in-person version where people have like cards and you can write down notes and wander around to people.
That's a great idea.
Done that with a girl guide group, and that was stellar. I was also the victim, so I was, in my prom dress, and I tipped myself backward and spilled my wine everywhere. But the suspects were so lovely. They wrote, every single one of them actually plans a way they would kidnap the Baron, which is what happened in the forum at the very end. Every single name was listed, but all of the options for how it might have been done was actually selected from what the suspects had chosen. So, getting a servant to do it, or digging a bear trap, or
Russian mob.
Good one. Oh, right, the Russian mob. Nicola had one of the greatest things is Ryland had the most beautiful gossip on Nicola herself, and it was that Nicola secretly loved summoning demons.
And that's why all her scroll text is in Latin.
Exactly.
I see the logic of that. I
There's
will
lots
not
of-
tell you that my scrolls are often in Latin, because they are.
So it's the fun of both making it and people discovering, wait, Nicola summons demons? And it's the other Nicola. I don't see.
Yeah, really? Now, Rhys did a great job. Originally, I was going to be one of the agents, but then I decided, I'm on camera enough right now. And Rhys from Rising Waters was involved as one of the agents. How was it working with Rhys?
He was lovely, and it was lovely to meet him through this. And he turned out to be also a relatively new player, less noobish than I. He answered a whole bunch of questions for me, bless him. But he did so well with organizing things. I think he did a whole way better job of interviews than I did. So it was delightful to see his interviews and be like, oh, they rock. Oh my gosh.
Well, Nicola, I can say on behalf of many, many of us in the kingdom, and perhaps even those people outside of the kingdom who enjoyed the adventure, thank you so much for coming up with this idea. It was fantastic, and I really look forward to your next idea.
Uh-oh, there's the pressure. Well, thank you for helping me, and thank you for everyone who participated and played and guessed, and those who guessed correctly.
Bye.
Bye.
That's where I left that. Oh, thank goodness.